A new security warning now about state-backed hackers potentially trying to steal coronavirus research. Danny Palmer with me here for ZDNet to talk a little bit more about this. Sadly, Danny, the entire world could benefit or needs to benefit from this type of research. So start first with who's being attacked or targeted here.
Well, according to the joint statement from the UK National Cybersecurity and the US Department of Homeland Security, the organisations being targeted by attacks in this case is mostly healthcare, but then also the supply chains around it, which can include pharmaceuticals, research at universities looking into cures for coronavirus, even sort of local governments and to an extent national governments here in the UK, for example, the National Health Service, because these are all bodies involved in planning for how to deal with coronavirus, be it a cure or controlling the extent of the outbreak. And obviously a lot of these things involve quite sensitive information, particularly medical information.
Okay, and Danny, talk a little bit more about the type of attacks that we're seeing here or how they're getting in.
Well, the advisory points to two main types of attack. The first one is basically brute forcing passwords, where the attackers are just using as many common passwords as they can to try and crack accounts. It might sound not very effective, but when you consider the amount of accounts that people have that have rather basic passwords, that could be an entry point for the attackers. Another means of attack that was detailed in this report is targeting of remote work infrastructure, basically things like VPNs and that sort of thing, because as we've all had to adapt to working remotely, so have many people working in these environments. I mean, there's probably going to be academics doing their work from home. Researchers, I suspect, will be in a lab, but then they'll also be doing bits and pieces from home. So the attackers are looking to exploit vulnerable infrastructure in these cases. And there's a particular Citrix vulnerability the report mentions that the attackers have been targeting in particular. I mean, this vulnerability has been known since about December, January last year, so it's not that old. I mean, the patch came out just a few months ago, but because it's so recent, it hasn't quite been updated in many cases. And there was a recent report by a cybersecurity company looking into attacks using these, which were attributed to a nation state. The advisory from the NCSC and Homeland Security doesn't name names, but if you sort of read between the lines, you can kind of tell who might be behind these campaigns.
Okay, and Danny, finally, before we wrap up here, just expand a little bit on, we talked about so many of the researchers and physicians and people working from home now and professors from universities and things like that. What can they do? What can the companies do behind them to best protect those that are working from home?
Okay, some good advice to begin with is make sure your professional account has a strong and unique password. That's something the National Cybersecurity Centre suggests is using 3 random words. They might be something related to you, but something that people aren't going to guess. And do that, and that's quite a strong password. And I guess critically, whatever password you're using for your corporate account, your work account, don't use the same one on your personal accounts, because the amount of times we've seen attacks where email accounts or online shops have been breached in the past and passwords have got leaked. With these big databases of passwords, attackers are just going to pluck them up and use them as much as possible. So it can be difficult remembering all your passwords for each account, but try and have a separate one for each one. And then on top of that, multi-factor authentication is a good way of stopping this. Having that extra alert, be it an authenticator app with random number generator, an app by the sort of your email provider, or even just text messages as a sort of second layer of defense. So if your password is cracked, you at least do get an alert then saying to your smartphone going, was this you? And if it wasn't you, first of all, decline it, then B, try and find out what's going on. And I guess in the corporate environment, that would be telling your information security team what has happened so they can investigate the attack.
All right, some important information there, certainly at a really important time, Danny. Thank you so much for that. Much more information can be found in Danny's full article, of course, on ZDNet. We hope you'll check it out. Thanks for watching.